All right, looks like we're diving deep into burnout today, huh? Not just skimming the surface, this is a full-on conquering burnout immersion.
You could say that, yeah.
I mean, you've even got excerpts from M.L. Winter's new book, all your own notes too, and some pretty thought-provoking articles I see.
Yeah, some interesting stuff in there for sure.
So what sparked this deep dive anyway? Big presentation coming up.
Well, maybe a little of that.
Or are you feeling the heat yourself? No judgment here, we've all been there.
Well, with Winter's new book coming out, it feels like the right time to really dig into this.
Yeah, makes sense. To go beyond just recognizing burnout to actually figuring out how to conquer it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had that note about feeling completely overwhelmed after that work event. You even mentioned feeling dread before you got there.
Oh, yeah, that marketing conference.
I think that's a perfect example to start with.
It wasn't the event itself, really. It was like the weeks leading up to it, the dumbbells, the pressure to network, always having to be on.
Well, I know that feeling.
By the time the conference actually started, I was already running on empty.
You know that feeling you described? The dread, the exhaustion before the event even began? That sounds like classic burnout creeping in.
Really?
Yeah, people often mistake it for just regular stress.
Right. But there's a difference.
A big one. Winters really hits on this in his book.
Okay, I'm curious.
He says, stress is like a sprint. Intense but over quickly, but burnout. Burnout's that marathon you never signed up for.
Oh, I like that analogy.
It leaves you feeling completely depleted, questioning everything you thought you knew.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I can handle stress, but burnout, that's different.
Totally.
It's like this insidious fog just rolls in and sapped all your energy, all your motivation. It's more than just feeling tired. It's feeling disillusioned, cynical, even resentful.
Exactly.
Wow.
And Winters, he outlines 3 distinct stages of burnout, and they can help us pinpoint where we are on that spectrum.
Okay, so stage 1.
Stagnation. You're just going through the motions, avoiding tasks. That initial enthusiasm you had, gone, replaced by feeling emotionally detached from your work.
Okay, so let's say I'm hitting the snooze button way too often, and projects that I used to be excited about now just feel like chores. That's stagnation.
Sounds like it could be, yeah.
No.
But then imagine that stagnation. You let it fester.
Okay.
It can turn into apathy, where any passion you had just vanishes. And you're detached, not just from work, but from relationships, hobbies, everything that used to bring you joy.
Okay, it's starting to get a little nervous now, but knowing this is half the battle, right?
Exactly. If you can recognize yourself in those early stages, you can take action.
Before you hit the, I just don't care anymore, well.
You got it. But then there's that final stage.
Oh.
That's where burnout really takes hold.
Okay.
You're mentally and physically exhausted, performance plummets, and it can even show up physically.
What do you mean?
Insomnia, weakened immune system, you're more likely to get sick.
Wow. Okay, so burnout is a serious beast.
It is.
It's not just about toughening up or pushing through.
No, not at all.
But before we jump into solutions,
Yeah.
Why does burnout feel so awful? Like physically?
Oh, that's a great question. And Winters goes into the science behind it.
It's not just in our heads.
Nope, not at all. When we're chronically stressed, our bodies go into fight or flight mode.
Oh, right. Releasing all those hormones?
Exactly. Cortisol, adrenaline, the ones.
So in a real fight or flight situation,
Yeah.
those hormones help us react quickly to danger.
Right. Exactly.
But with chronic stress, with burnout,
That system is stuck. It's an overdrive.
so our bodies are constantly on high alert,
Yes.
even when there's no real threat. No wonder we feel wired, but tired all the time.
Exactly. It's exhausting for the body.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that constant flood of stress hormones, it has a domino effect.
Oh, no.
Our sleep is messed up, our immune system weakens, we're more prone to anxiety, depression, even chronic diseases.
That's scary.
It's like you're running your car engine at full speed nonstop.
Okay, yeah.
Eventually, something's got to give.
So we know burnout is real. It's not just in our heads, but what can we actually do about it? Solutions. Where do we even start?
Well, Winters, he's got this multi-pronged approach,
Interesting.
and I think it's really insightful.
Okay, I'm listening.
He starts with what he calls quick wins.
Quick wins, like hitting the reset button.
Exactly. Small, actionable changes that can make a surprisingly big difference.
I like the sound of that. Give me an example.
Take 5 minutes to just breathe deeply and consciously,
Oh, yeah.
or set boundaries by saying no to things that drain you.
The power of no is something I've only recently started to get.
Important.
It's not about being difficult. It's about protecting your time and energy.
Exactly. So you can show up fully for the things that matter.
Yeah, I'm learning that.
And that's a perfect example of a quick win that can have a ripple effect.
Nice. I like it.
Winters also talks about becoming more mindful of how we talk to ourselves.
Self-talk.
Yeah. Are we constantly putting ourselves down, dwelling on the negative?
Oh, yeah, guilt.
Try flipping the script. Acknowledge even the small wins.
Love that. We need to celebrate those wins, big or small.
Absolutely. So what else can we do to build on those quick wins and create more lasting change? What does Winters suggest?
Yeah, where do we go from there?
He dives into this idea of habit stacking, and I think it's brilliant.
Habit stacking, what's that?
Well, you basically link a new healthy habit to one you already have.
Okay.
So let's say you brush your teeth every morning.
I do, sometimes.
Try adding a quick meditation right after, or maybe a gratitude practice.
Ooh, that's smart. It takes the pressure off of overhauling your entire routine.
Exactly. You're sneaking in those healthy habits.
Love it. Makes it so much easier.
It's all about making it easy and sustainable.
I'm all about sustainable.
And speaking of routines, let's talk work-life balance, or as Winters calls it, work-life integration.
Ooh, yeah, work-life balance. That's a big one. I
Uh-huh.
was hoping we'd get to that.
I figured so many people struggle with this. It's a huge contributor to burnout.
So what does Winter say about it?
He says it's not about splitting your time perfectly in half.
Right, 50-50.
Yeah, it's about creating a blend that works for you and your own situation.
So like silencing those work notifications after hours.
Yeah,
Or scheduling some me time in my calendar.
Yeah.
Whatever helps me disconnect and recharge, you know?
I love that. And I found that setting boundaries like that has been huge for me. I can be more present in all areas of my life. That's fantastic to hear. Setting boundaries is a skill, and it takes practice.
It does.
And Winters also encourages us to seek professional help when we need it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
You know, therapists, counselors, coaches, they're like expert guides.
Yeah.
They can help you navigate burnout.
So true. Definitely not a sign of weakness.
Not at all. More like secret weapons.
I like that.
But there's more to this than just mindset and habits, right? Winters also talks about the impact of nutrition and exercise.
Oh, right. Food and movement.
Yes. And this is where things get really interesting.
I have to admit, when I'm feeling burnt out, exercise is the last thing I want to do.
Oh, I get it. But there's so much research now on how what we eat and how we move affects our mental well-being.
Really?
It's fascinating. We'll dive into that after a quick break to let you absorb all this good stuff.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's get into this connection between what we eat and how we feel.
Yeah. Food and mood. I'm ready.
You know, Winters has this whole section called Nutrition as a Weapon.
Nutrition as a weapon? Sounds a little intense.
I know, right? But I think it really gets at how powerful food is.
Oh, yeah.
It can either give us energy or totally deplete us.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed a connection between what I eat and how much energy I have,
Oh, absolutely.
especially when I'm feeling stressed.
But it's not just energy.
No.
Winters goes into how specific nutrients actually impact brain function, mood regulation, even how we handle stress.
Wow. Okay, so what kind of things are we talking about here?
Well, he really emphasizes complex carbs as the foundation.
Carbs. Okay, so like bread and pasta.
Well, not exactly, more like whole grains, fruits, vegetables.
Okay, so the good carbs.
You got it. They provide more sustained energy.
Right. Because simple carbs just lead to those sugar crashes.
Exactly. Complex carbs are digested more slowly.
Okay.
So they give your brain a steady stream of glucose.
And glucose is important for
Focus, concentration, stable mood, all that good stuff.
sense.
He also talks a lot about lean protein.
Protein, right. So that's for building muscle, right?
Well, yes, but it also helps produce neurotransmitters.
Neurotransmitters. Like what?
Dopamine, serotonin. Those are key players in our emotional well-being.
Really? So chicken and fish aren't just for gym buffs. They can actually help with mood.
Exactly. They provide the building blocks for those neurotransmitters.
Huh. Interesting. So they affect things like motivation and happiness?
Yes. Even sleep and appetite.
I never knew that.
And this is especially important when we're dealing with burnout.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection.
You know, I've noticed when I don't eat enough protein, my mood is all over the place.
Oh, yeah, me too, for sure.
It's really common, and Winters emphasizes that.
Okay.
Oh, and he also talks about healthy fats.
Healthy fats. I thought fat was bad.
Well, not all fat. Healthy fats are essential for brain function.
Okay.
They can even reduce inflammation, which is a big factor in burnout.
Huh. Okay, so to recap, we've got complex carbs for steady energy, lean protein for mood regulation, and healthy fats for brain power and fighting inflammation.
You got it. Sounds like a recipe for a burnout-proof diet.
Yeah, it does. So Winters isn't saying we have to go on some crazy restrictive diet.
Not at all. He's just emphasizing nourishing our bodies.
With the right stuff.
Exactly. Giving them what they need to thrive, especially when we're stressed.
So it's about making conscious choices, right? Like, instead of grabbing that bag of chips when I'm stressed, maybe I grab a handful of nuts.
Exactly. Small, sustainable changes that add up over time.
Okay, I can do that.
Now let's talk exercise.
Oh, here it comes.
I know. When you're feeling burnt out, exercise is probably the last thing you want to do.
You read my mind.
But Winters acknowledges that, and he debunks the myth that we need these intense workouts to feel the benefits.
Really?
Especially when it comes to burnout, even short bursts of movement can make a difference.
So like a 15-minute walk could actually help.
Absolutely. Exercise, even a little bit, helps release those feel-good endorphins.
Right, endorphins.
It reduces cortisol levels and even improves sleep quality.
So it's like hitting the reset button for your brain and body.
Exactly.
I remember when I started doing just 20 minutes of yoga every morning. I was skeptical, but it really changed how I felt.
How so?
More centered, more energized, more able to handle whatever came my way.
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was surprised.
And, you don't have to force yourself to do something you hate.
Oh, thank goodness.
Winter says find something you enjoy.
Okay, that's doable.
Dancing, swimming, hiking, even just taking the stairs instead of the elevator.
It's about moving your body in ways that feel good and sustainable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he takes it a step further.
Oh.
He connects specific strategies back to those burnout stages we talked about.
Oh, right. Stagnation, apathy, and the I just don't care anymore stage.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's like he's giving us a personalized roadmap.
So depending on where you are on that burnout spectrum, you use different tools.
Exactly. So in that stagnation phase,
Yeah.
setting small goals, using those quick wins like the breathing or a short walk, those can help you regain control.
It's about getting yourself back into a more positive mindset.
Exactly. What about that apathy stage where you've lost that spark?
Yeah, what about that one?
Winters says it's all about rekindling that connection to your passions.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Hobbies, creative pursuits, spending time in nature, anything that brings you joy and purpose.
It's about remembering who you are outside of work.
Exactly. You got it. And then there's that full-blown, I just don't care anymore stage.
Oh, yeah, that one's a little scary.
It is.
What does Winters say for people who are really struggling?
He really emphasizes getting professional help in that stage.
Okay, so therapists, counselors, coaches.
Yes. They can give you that support and guidance.
Okay.
But even then, those foundational strategies we talked about, sleep, nutrition, gentle movement,
Right.
those are so important. They lay the groundwork for recovery.
Like building a foundation.
Exactly. And what I really like about Winter's book is that he includes real stories.
Oh, real people who have gone through this.
Yes. People who have actually navigated burnout.
I love that. Stories make it feel so much more real, like, okay, this is possible.
They show us we're not alone.
So tell me about some of these people.
Well, there's Michael. He's a software developer.
Okay.
He was completely burnt out, deadlines, demanding clients, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I can imagine the tech industry is intense.
He lost his passion for coding, almost quit his job.
Wow. So what helped him turn things around?
Well, he started setting boundaries, learning to say no.
Okay, good for him.
He got back into coding for fun, working on personal projects. He also prioritized sleep, started cooking healthy meals, and incorporated daily walks.
So he basically rediscovered himself, started prioritizing his well-being.
Exactly. And then there's Sarah. She's a Gen X mom.
Oh, wow. Juggling it all.
She was juggling a demanding career, 3 kids, and aging parents.
Oh, my gosh. That's a lot.
She was overwhelmed, constantly stressed, on the verge of breakdown.
I feel for her. So many people are in that situation these days.
It's tough. For Sarah, the turning point was realizing she couldn't do it all alone.
Right. You can't do everything yourself.
She started delegating tasks at work and at home.
Good for her.
She made time for herself, even if it was just 15 minutes to read or take a bath.
Nice. That's important.
And she found a support group of other working moms.
It's amazing how connecting with people who understand can be so helpful.
It really is. So these stories, and the others Winters shares, they show us that conquering burnout isn't about some magic formula.
Yeah, it's more about taking those consistent steps.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about prioritizing your well-being one step at a time.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. And speaking of journeys, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have. This has been really insightful.
It's time to pause and let our listener process all these great insights.
Yeah, take it all in.
When we come back, we'll wrap up this deep dive with some final thoughts and actionable takeaways.
Okay, we're back, and I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty inspired after that deep dive into burnout.
You know, what really stood out to me was how Winters emphasizes that personalized approach.
Right, like there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
It's about finding what works for you.
Totally. It's like he gives us this toolbox
Yeah.
filled with different tools, and we get to choose which ones work best for us.
That's a great way to put it. And as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah,
I just want to emphasize how important it is to actually take action.
right. It's easy to get caught up in all the information.
But knowing stuff without doing anything about it, it's like
Uh-huh.
having a car without an engine.
So true. We got to turn these insights into real changes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as you're thinking about everything we talked about,
Yeah.
ask yourself, what's one tiny tweak that you can do right now?
Is there one strategy that really resonated with you?
Yeah, or maybe a quick win you can try today.
Could be committing to that 5-minute breathing exercise,
Oh, yeah.
or maybe swapping that sugary snack for some almonds,
I like that.
or even just setting a firm boundary around work hours.
Like no more checking emails after dinner.
Exactly. For me, I think it's about being more mindful of that self-talk.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I can be pretty hard on myself, so I'm working on celebrating those small wins.
That's a powerful shift.
It is. And it's not about being perfect.
Not at all. It's about making progress.
Even those tiny changes can make a big difference over time.
It's like planting a seed
Yeah.
and watching it grow.
So, to everyone listening, as you start your own burnout-busting journey, remember, you have the power to create lasting change.
And you don't have to do it alone.
Right. Reach out to your support system, connect with people, and don't be afraid to get professional help if you need it.
So true. This deep dive has given you the knowledge and the tools.
Now it's time to go out and reclaim your well-being.
Conquering burnout is a journey, not a destination.
We're so glad you joined us for this deep dive.
And we'll see you on our next exploration.
Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, take care of yourselves.